everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel, The Story Ain't Over. So today I'm coming to you with another book haul. I know it hasn't been that long since I did the last one, but I'm telling you, it's not my fault. People just keep sending me books. So this is a very, first world problem, and it's a good problem, and I'm very excited to share all of these books with you today. Some of them I have already started reading, which I'm very, very excited about, so I want to tell you about those. I didn't buy a single one of these books. They were either gifted to me, sent to me by publishers, or sent to me in like a book box, so that's where we're at right now. But without further ado, let's just get right into the books. So the first book that I want to share with you today is House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. So this is the book that came in the August Owl Crate box. So if you don't know, I am a new Owl Crate rep, and so I have a rep code and everything. So if you use my code STORY, you'll get 10% off your first Owl Crate box, and you can get a lovely book and some lovely bookish goodies in your book box. I do have a full unboxing up on my channel, so you can go check that out. I will leave it linked down below. But guys, so I didn't really know much about this book. I had seen a bunch of like Bookstagram posts of this book because this cover is darn gorgeous. And I will say this is actually an exclusive cover that came in the Owl Crate box. So the colors are a bit brighter and a little bit bluer and purpler, and I just absolutely love it. And I like it even more than the original cover. So I didn't really know much about this book before I got it in the box, but I did remember someone telling me that it was a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. And so that was enough to kind of like hook me, because I loved the 12 Dancing Princesses Barbie movie, and like that was just my crack when I was a kid. So I absolutely loved that, and I thought that this would be really great if it was also similar to that. And I didn't intend to start reading this because I have 100 things to read, and if you've watched my past 2 TBRs, then you know I'm very behind on a lot of reading. But I was like, this seems cool, and I found the audiobook on Scribd, and I was like, maybe I should just, listen to this while I'm, eating breakfast. And here we are, and I am like halfway through it, and I'm loving it. It's great. It gives you total 12 Dancing Princesses vibes. Basically, it follows our main character Anna Lee, who is like the 4th, I think, in a family of 12 princesses, and they live in this like kingdom by the sea, and they're all about like the salt and the water and everything. They have like different gods, and it's kind of like this fantasy world. No one really believes in magic. They believe in these gods, but they don't really believe in magic or ghosts or anything like that. But Anna Lee's older sisters have been slowly dying off. Each of them has been involved in a crazy accident or died in some mysterious way. And so the whole kingdom kind of thinks that her and her family is cursed. And so Anna Lee and her younger sisters don't really think that there'll be any chance of them finding husbands. And so they think that the only way that they might be able to find one is outside of the kingdom, far away from the reaches of the curse. But they end up in a situation where they are able to attend these secret balls like across the kingdom far away, and they end up going to some balls and dancing their nights away, and basically it goes 12 Dancing Princesses from there. But I am absolutely loving it. It was a little bit slow to start, but I really like the writing, and I'm just really enjoying it. So I'm very, very excited to read the rest of this. All right, the next 2 books that I'm hauling today I received from Penguin Teen Canada. I put up a story and I did a little like unboxing, unwrapping thing, I guess, but they were kind enough to send me these 2 books that I requested, and that was very, very nice of them. So the first book is A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy, and the second one is Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow. I'm very excited for both of these. They seem super cool, especially this one. I don't know a lot about this one, but I do own one of Julie C. Dow's other books. I own The Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, and I've heard some really great things about that, so I'm very excited to read this. I believe the premise of this book is that the main character, Lan, is like this wealthy nobleman's daughter, and she ends up rejecting the like love confession of this boy named Bao that she's known for a very long time. But then once she rejects him, he ends up like getting into this curse or spell put onto him, and he is turned into a flute. And so she is trying to break this curse, but he doesn't know how he feels about it because she already rejected him. And I am very interested to see how this goes, but she's basically trying to break this curse, and I believe there's a bit of a love story. It's also a very short book. It doesn't seem very long. It's like less than 300 pages. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. I believe this is the flute on the front. It looks like a flute. It's a dragonfly, but also a flute. I don't even know if that's a dragonfly. It's some kind of bug. And there's also a journey element to it. They're like journeying through this fantasy world. So I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be great. It's also kind of, I don't know why, but it's giving me Inuyasha vibes, and I'm excited for this. So I think it's gonna be good. And then A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. This I'm super excited for because a lot of people have been telling me that they think it's gonna be great. And all I really know about it is that it is set in a North African inspired fantasy world, and it follows like these two sisters who are battling for like the control of the throne. But it also involves like a lot of like crazy magic. It says here that like the main character Eva is a princess born with the magic of blood and marrow. Dark and terrible magic that hasn't been seen for generations in the vibrant but fractured country of Mir. I don't know how to say the name, but yes, it seems really interesting. Lots of magic, a battle, strong women. I think it's gonna be great, and I love that it's North African inspired, so I'm very excited for this. Both of these are arcs, so Song of the Crimson Flower comes out in November of this year, and A River of Royal Blood comes out in October. All right, the next set of books here were sent to me by the Epic Reads team at HarperCollins, so thank you so much. Some of these may show up in an Epic Book Recs video if you wanted to go check those out. It's a monthly recommendation series that I host on the Epic Reads channel called #EpicBookRecs. All of the links are down below. Go check it out. There have been some really fun themes, and I love every single one of those videos that I make because I just love all the books that I'm recommending in them. So if you wanted some good recs based on a certain theme each month, go check that out. But one of the books that I received was Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. So I think this will have come out by the time that this video goes up. It's coming out September 3rd. And guys, I need to tell you a story. So I put up my September TBR and I was like, I have so many things to read before I run my Legend read along. If you don't know, it's a read along that I'm hosting for the Legend series by Marie Lu before the next book comes out in October. Go check out the September TBR if you wanted to see that. But I'm gonna be focused on that for like the last 3 weeks of September. So the first week of September, I want to finish all of the arcs and like books that I've been meaning to read that I talked about in my August TBR that I'd never got around to reading in August. And so I have like this very strict TBR that I need to read. And then this book came along and like literally chucked the whole thing out the window. So yes, I had heard a lot of great things about this. It's basically a fantasy. It's set in a like Western Christian world, and it follows two main characters. So there's a witch and a witch hunter, and they are like as star-crossed as it can get, but the two of them end up in a situation where they are married to each other, even though like one would end up hunting the other, but he doesn't know that she's a witch and she's trying to keep herself a secret so that she can keep herself safe, and it's this whole thing, but they end up in a marriage, and it's honestly insane and crazy, and I love it. I'm like 80% done with this. I only have like maybe 100 pages left. It's a pretty long book. It's about like 600 pages. I started it yesterday on Labor Day because I just wanted to relax and read, and I just spent the whole day reading, and it was really great, and I'm loving it. It's definitely more on the older YA spectrum, but it's really great, and it's just so much fun. The magic in this is really cool as well. I feel like it's really fleshed out and really interesting, and also just the social structures, and there's also some really great side characters in this. There's one precious little side character that just I want to give my whole heart to because he is so adorable, and I'm just really loving it in general. So I definitely recommend this if you are looking for a new release fantasy to pick up, and I'm very excited to finish it so I can tell you all of my thoughts on it in my next wrap up. All right, the next book that I have to haul here is staying on that snaky theme, and that is Kingdom of Souls by Raina Barron. This also comes out on September 3rd, I believe, and I'm very excited about this. I love the cover, by the way. This one also features witches, which I'm very excited about because based on how much I'm liking Serpent and Dove, I think I'm gonna really like this. So basically what I know about this book is that it follows our main character who comes from a family of witch doctors, and she is finding that she's not able to like use her magic as well as her ancestors are. Like she's failing to read the bones and see the future and like use her magic the way she's supposed to be, and so she's drawing a lot of disappointment from her family members. But then she finds out that there is a way to make her magic like more powerful, and she hears this from like charlatans in the market, and they say that if she trades like years of her life, she'd be able to like gain more power. But the main character Ara is like totally not into it. She's like, no, I'm not doing this crazy sacrifice. This does not seem like a good idea. So she kind of waves it away, but then something horrible happens. So there's this demon king who is like sealed away centuries ago by the ancient gods, and so he is awakened and he is snatching away children. And so Ara wants to stop this from happening, so she ends up trading years of her life to kind of gain more power and take on this demon king, I believe. And that's all the synopsis really gave me. And I'm very excited about this. It seems like it's gonna be really, really interesting. I love the concept of like sacrificing part of yourself for magic. Like I think that's such an interesting magic system. So I think it's gonna be really cool. And just the idea of the Demon King as well, I'm very excited for that. I'm also kind of interested because it doesn't seem like this has a romance in it. At least like the synopsis isn't like giving one away. So if you've read like an early copy of this and you know that there's a romance, let me know because I'd like to know. I feel like most of the YA fantasies that I've read have a romance in it, but I'd be interested to see if this one doesn't. Can't wait to dig into this one. It's also a little bit on the longer side, so it's gonna be a nice treat to dig into. Okay, the next book that I have here, and also the last one sent to me by Epic Reads, is Unpregnant by Jenny Hendricks and Ted Kaplan. So this is going to be a movie very soon, I believe. I don't know much about it. I don't really know a lot about this book, but I do know the premise, and which is why I asked Epic Reads to send it to me, because I am very excited about this. And you know, depending on your views on things, you might not vibe with this, but I'm very excited for it. Basically, this book follows our main character, Veronica, who has a steady boyfriend and they've used contraception and everything, but somehow something goes wrong and she becomes pregnant. And that is the last thing that she ever wanted, and she has a really bright future ahead of her, and she doesn't want to give that future away because of a child. So she knows what she wants. She wants an abortion, but the nearest place that will do it is in New Mexico. So she needs to find a way to get to New Mexico to have this abortion, and she doesn't have a car. So she ends up teaming up with her ex-best friend and a misfit at the school named Bailey, and the two of them end up on this like long road trip to get to New Mexico so she can have this abortion. And I'm just very interested and excited to see how the authors kind of take on this subject, and I think it's gonna be really, really great. I've already kind of peeked through. The book isn't very long. It's only about 300 pages, but I've already peeked through, and it kind of like shows the journey through the hours that they have left until they get to the abortion clinic. But there's also a lot of like hiccups along the way. It says here that the 14-hour drive, a lot goes wrong. Not much apart from 3 days of stolen cars, shotguns, crazed ex-boyfriends, kind-hearted truck stop strippers, ferret napping aliens, and the pain and betrayal of a broken friendship that can't be outrun. Soon, Veronica must risk everything to repair the hurt she caused. Under the vast starlit skies of the American Southwest, Veronica and Bailey discover the road to adulthood isn't easy, but it's better with a friend by your side. This is giving me a lot of like Hello Girls vibes, which I absolutely loved. I know a lot of people didn't really love that book, but I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a really fun like girls road trip kind of book, and I think this is going to be very similar to that, so very, very excited for that, and I think it's going to be great. Okay, the next two books were gifted to me by a friend. So the first one is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. I've actually already read this. I read it last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. It wasn't like my favorite, but I did really enjoy it, and I'm very excited to see where it goes in the next book, which is coming out this fall. It's called Girls of Storm and Shadow. But basically this takes place in an Asian-inspired fantasy world, and in this fantasy world there are 3 castes. So the lowest caste is the paper caste, which is people who are like completely human. The middle class is the steel caste, which is people who have like animal attributes and like powers. And then the highest class is the moon caste, which is basically like people who have like full like animal attributes, like much more pronounced than the steel caste, and they have like very strong abilities and powers and things. So the moon caste kind of rules over everyone, and there is a demon king, and the demon king has this thing where he takes a set of paper brides, so human girl brides, every year I believe, and there's like a whole set of them, and they become his brides for the year, and then they're kind of cast away. And so the main character is a paper girl, and she is stolen away as one of these paper brides to become the demon king's bride. And this is a book which like takes like a premise that you think is going to go one way and kind of flips it on its head. So you think it's going to be like a romance between her and the demon king, and kind of the whole like Arabian Nights kind of vibe, but it's more of a subversion of that. The main character ends up falling for another paper girl of her same year who is also a bride to the demon king, and the demon king is a horrible person. And this is, none of this is a spoiler because you learn it from like the very beginning. There is a female-female relationship in this, and I absolutely loved it. It was super great, and I just thought the world was just so interesting and lush as well. So I'm very excited to see where it goes in the second book, because the ending was pretty killer as well. So definitely recommend this if you are looking for a fantasy to pick up, because it was great. Okay, the next book that I'm hauling here was also gifted to me by a friend, and that is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. So this is the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy. It's an adult fantasy series, and I don't know a single thing about this, but it was gifted to me and I'm really excited to read it because it was the winner of the Hugo Award, which is like this huge fantasy award, and I've heard amazing things about it. I just never got around to picking it up because I don't pick up a lot of adult fantasy. Like, I mean to read them, but then I never actually end up picking them up. So I'm very excited about this. If anyone has read this or knows anything about it, I would love to hear your thoughts on it because then I know to pick it up sooner. But since I've heard such great, amazing things about it, I think it's going to be pretty great. So definitely want to pick this up soon. Okay, and the last 4 books in this haul were all sent to me by Raincoast Books in Canada. So thank you so much, Raincoast Books, for sending me these. And so the first of the books that I'm going to haul is the one that I requested. And I am so happy that they sent it to me because I was just dying to get an arc of this and I didn't get it at BookCon and ended up somehow getting it from Raincoast Books. And that book is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I mentioned this in my September TBR that I started reading it and that I want to finish it before the Legend read along. And guys, I am super excited about this. So the second I found out that Leigh Bardugo was writing another book that wasn't like Grisha related and that it was like an adult fantasy, like I was just super excited. Basically it follows our main character, Galaxy Alex Stern, so everyone calls her Alex, and she has had a lot of crazy things happen in her past. You don't really know a lot about her past going into the book, but she's given a second chance to attend Yale and kind of monitor the secret societies at Yale for their occult activities and kind of the magic and things that they're using and kind of control them and, you know, make sure nothing gets out of hand. And she's part of this thing called House Leith, and they kind of overlook the occult activities at Yale, and she has like a mentor. But it's really interesting because this book kind of takes multiple timelines, and so you're seeing things that happened in the future and things that happened in the past all at once. You're kind of seeing them intercut with each other, which I didn't know going into this. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. I'm only about 70 pages in so far, and I will say I'm not like totally loving it, but I am enjoying it. I think it's gonna get better as I go along. It's just a bit on the slower side, so I haven't gotten really into it, but I think it's gonna be great, and I'm very excited. And it's part of a series as well, so thank you so much to Raincoast Books for sending me this because it just kind of fulfilled all my Leigh Bardugo dreams. Okay, the next book that I have here, also sent to me by Raincoast Books, was Are You Listening by Tilly Walden. So this is actually a graphic novel. I don't know a lot about it. I believe I remember Hannah from A Clockwork Reader mentioning this in one of her videos, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be great. But basically, from what I can tell from the back synopsis, it follows 2 friends who end up kind of on like this road trip, and it says it deals with subjects of betrayal, sexual assault, and death. So I feel like it's gonna be a really emotional read, and I'm very excited for that. And there's also a little kitty, and I can't wait for that. And also, if you want to see some of the artwork, here it is. Yeah, it looks really good, and I can't wait. It says this comes out in September 2019, so I don't know if it'll be out before this video goes up, but definitely go check it out. Okay, the next book that I have here, also sent to me by Raincoast Books, is The Liars of Mariposa Island by Jennifer Matthew. I haven't read any of Jennifer Matthew's previous books, but I've heard good things about them, so I'm very interested to see how this one goes, especially because of the subject matter. So this book takes place in 1986 on Mariposa Island, and it takes place in the summer, and it follows 2 siblings. So it says the book follows 2 siblings with flashbacks to their mother's experience as a teenage refugee fleeing the Cuban Revolution. And this multi-layered novel explores the elusive nature of truth, the danger of keeping secrets, and the fierce and sometimes destructive love that can exist in families. This seems like it's gonna be really good. I love that it's gonna like involve flashbacks from their mother's experience during the Cuban Revolution. Like, I think that's really amazing, and I don't feel like I've read a YA book that kind of deals with that kind of tense history. So very excited for this, and I love that it's also family oriented, so I think it's gonna be great and cannot wait to read this. It comes out also in September. I don't know if it's out before this video is up, but definitely go check it out and look out for it. Okay, the next book, and also the last book on this haul, was also sent to me by Raincoast Books, and I've heard some really amazing things about this from some friends, in IRL friends, who have read this book and really enjoyed it. And that book is There Will Come a Darkness by Katy Rose Poole. This is not the actual cover. There is another cover. I don't know a lot about this, so I'm gonna read the back synopsis because it's pretty short. So, the age of darkness approaches. 5 lives stand in its way. Who will stop it or unleash it? For generations, the 7 prophets guided humanity. Using their visions of the future, they ended wars and united nations, until the day 100 years ago when the prophets disappeared. All they left behind was one final secret prophecy, foretelling an age of darkness and the birth of a new prophet who could be the world's salvation, or the cause of its destruction. As chaos takes hold, 5 souls are set on a collision course. A prince exiled from his kingdom, a ruthless killer known as the Pale Hand, a once faithful leader torn between his duty and his heart, a reckless gambler with the power to find anything or anyone, and a dying girl on the verge of giving up. One of them, or all of them, could break the world. Will they be savior or destroyer? I am very excited about this, just because there's like multiple characters and it seems like it's gonna be a multi-perspective book and maybe a found family, I don't know, but it seems very, very interesting. And just based on the fact that I've had quite a few people tell me that it was great from reading the advanced reader copy, I'm very excited to see how this book goes. So those were all the books that I had to haul today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited for like literally every book on this haul, so can't wait to read them. And my TBR just keeps getting bigger and bigger and I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm gonna drown in a bunch of books and it's such a good problem to have. So thank you so much for watching. Go check out all the links that I put down below. I will see you in my next video and please remember that this story ain't over. Bye.